All right, let's see if I can screw up the order even more after going to Latvia at 3. So let's go to the Slovaks next. How does that sound?
I would have picked Switzerland, but go ahead.
I did it again. All right, let's go to Slovakia. And Case, you're taking the low hanging fruit on this one.
Yeah, absolutely low hanging fruit here. Chad teed us up saying we're not going to take the best players on the team. Well,
I didn't necessarily say that.
Yeah, right. But I'm taking 2 of them, both Devils prospect, both the best players on the team, both defensemen.
Yeah.
Oh boy, is it a bright future. And I got to take Simon Nemec here. 2nd overall pick last year. We missed him at last tournament, but he played the year before, 4 assists in 5 games as a young player back then. Well, again, expect this guy to... Maybe he doesn't come off the ice. Maybe they just play with 5 defensemen and just have him out the whole time. Might give them even better chance of making it to the quarterfinals in this grouping. But 12 points in 24 games in the AHL so far this year with Utica. Preseason, he looked good with New Jersey and got a lot of attention that, maybe if they didn't have such a strong right side, he could be in the lineup as soon as this year. And I wouldn't doubt the possibility of him coming up later in the season and kind of getting those couple games without burning a year. He looks good, man. He's such a great skater. He moves the puck really well. His first pass is excellent, and he finds the net with his shot. One of my favorite things about him, it's a seeing eye shot, and you're going to see a lot of that for Team Slovakia because he's going to be out there a lot.
Yeah, good pick. I mean, I feel like we've only talked about Devils prospects this episode. So if you listen to episode 1 and enjoyed it, and then you've listened to episode 2 here, and we're like, what's going on? Yeah, well, sorry. Casey kind of took over with the Devils prospects, but no, it's
they've got a lot of them.
I could have talked about Topias Villain for defenseman on Finland, Devils prospect, but I didn't.
They've got a lot, and they've got a lot of good prospects too, and Simon Nemec is one of them. Listen, like this guy, it seems like he sort of came out of nowhere as a 2nd overall pick, but there's clearly a reason he was picked 2nd overall. He's got all the tools, and clearly with half a point a game in the AHL in his first pro season, he's been able to put them together, at least for the most part so far. So you love to see that. Clearly on this Slovakian team, he's going to be the horse that's relied on. So if we're talking about players to watch, you're not going to have a chance not to, because like you said, Case, like he's going to be on the ice the entire time. So definitely a good pick for the Slovaks. Heart thoughts?
Well, and like Case, not to pump your tires too much, but like respect to Tom Fitzgerald, like at the end of the day, like they went with a team need first at the draft. They were looking for a right shot D, and they got the best guy available in Simon Nemec. And you're pretty fortunate, man, to have just 2 defensemen in this tournament that are just going to be absolute horses on the blue line for their respective countries. But no, he's got all the tools. Very dynamic. Can move the puck up the ice and create plays, and he'll be a real treat to watch.
He did play for the Olympic team, Slovakia as well, 7 games. He had an assist, and then he played for the World Championships as well for Slovakia. And it was him and Slafkovsky. They were the show that tournament,
That's
World
right.
Championship, and 6 points in 8 games to really boost that team up. And yeah, it's going to be fun to watch him. I was really happy when they picked him at 2nd overall, and I'm excited. I think I can see him on the team next year. So
just as a side note, like that's pretty cool that 2 Slovak players went 1 and 2 in the last draft, and I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
Probably not, to be honest. There's so many talented players that come up, and the odds that they're both from the same country, let alone the same country that has historically not been a powerhouse at these tournaments or on the world stage, is pretty crazy. So something else I wanted to say too is, like, it's kind of a shame that Juraj Slafkovsky has not been released by the Canadians to play in this tournament, because I think this would be another opportunity for him to sort of get his confidence back and to really dominate, because it seems like at the NHL level, he's been fairly pedestrian, to be honest. He's been pretty average. He's been knocked off the puck seemingly too easily given his size, and he hasn't been able to score a lot. So it would be nice for him, and I think he would benefit from playing against some lesser competition. And I think personally, I think it's a shame that he's not playing. But that being said, another Habs prospect, Philip Machar, is playing in the tournament, so that's something for Habs fans to keep an eye on. But yes, Case, Nemec is a great pick, and I'll be watching him. Another player that I'll be watching, though, is eligible to be picked in this upcoming draft, and he's projected to go in the top 10. He was a player who was a younger guy who played last year. Casey, I don't know if you mentioned him last episode or maybe this one quickly, but it's Dalibor Dvorsky. He's 17 years old. Like I mentioned, he's projected to be picked in the first round this year, pretty much around the top 10 slots. Like I've seen him ranked as high as 5th overall. Could creep higher if he has a good tournament, could be a bit lower if it's a poor one. But last tournament in the summertime, watching this player with the cage on, he was the power play specialist, really. He had so much talent, and watching him last year, he's able to control the puck in a way that a lot of players on Slovakia aren't able to. The way he enters the zone, carries it through the neutral zone, like he has a special talent for doing it, especially as such a young player. He had just the 2 points in 4 games in the last tournament, and he has 8 points in 21 games in the Allsvenskan this year. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what this player can do with more ice time this year, now that Team Slovakia kind of knows that he should be relied on to be one of their better players. So looking forward to watching Dalibor Dvorsky this year.
Yeah, I remember him from last year, just kind of seeing him involved in the play every time he's on the ice. Maybe you notice him a little more because he's wearing a cage.
Yep.
But
for sure.
I mean, he's wearing a cage because he's one of the youngest people in the tournament. So yeah, he's playing in Sweden right now, putting up, decent numbers for their second tier league. But you look at his elite prospects, and you look at his all competitions U18 Slovakia numbers: 14 games played, 14 goals, 11 assists. So I think Slovakia is well aware of what they have in this guy, and he's going to be on the power play. He's going to be the trigger man, and Simon Nemec, he'll be looking to pass to him.
Yeah, I think it was the case in the previous tournament. I keep wanting to say last year, but it wasn't. Yeah. It was in August. So whenever we say last year, it's last tournament.
Yeah.
But I remember in the previous tournament where, it seemed like they sort of eased him into play. And when he got going in their last few games, he was a staple on that power play. He was loaded up on the flank, and all the pucks were going to him on the power play. So I think it could be a similar situation where, he's the trigger man. He's the offensive weapon that they want to utilize there because his shot is so accurate, and, he's so successful doing that. So I think he'll be interesting to watch offensively anyways, for sure.
Talk about just this new wave of Slovakian hockey players that we're seeing. We mentioned Nemec and Slavkovsky, but this guy's going to be a high pick too. And I'm just I'm even thinking of just all the great players that were Slovaks, like the Marian Gabricks and the Pavel Dimitras and Miro Zhatans and of course Zdeno Chara and all of those guys. But man, he's going to be a big part of this next wave of Slovakian hockey players coming in, along with Slavkovsky and Nemec and so on and so forth. And talented 17-year-old kid with a lot of skill. He'll be a treat to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Another good player for Slovakia, and the New York Rangers have had a tough time developing younger players, and we're seeing with Kravtsov just sort of the ups and downs of his development and everything, and being a healthy scratch and whatever. But a second round pick this year that apparently Chris Drury and company really value in the organization. That's Adam Sikora.
Yep.
5'10" center. He can play the wing as well, and just very skilled, and should be a really great player for the New York Rangers down the line here. And with Dvorsky and Nemec and the rest of the crew, I think Sikora will have a big impact for the for Slovakia. So he's another great player that I'm going to keep my eye on.
I had to look him up here because I knew, well, not only the name rings a bell because of Peter Sikora, of course, but it was recent times, and it's because he also played on that World Championship team, and also contributed 2 goals and assists in 6 games. That was a young team, really impressive. But he played in last tournament. He wore an A for this team, so again, I expect him to be someone who's looked upon heavily. He's got to stay out of the penalty box. 27 points or penalty minutes in 4 games last year.
Yeah,
wow,
that's the thing.
I didn't realize
Another guy picked by the Rangers that can't stay out of the box and has got some sandpaper, but yeah, he's also got a lot of skill as well.